Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys down south, I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, you good old boys from Canada. You know we love you in Africa, the Big C tribe, but there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south in the land of the free and the home of the brave on a beautiful December the 11th, 2018. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Well, Charlton, with all this baseball free agency talk going on right now, I almost thought it was spring training. They're having the winter meetings in baseball, which is seeming to be overtaking the NFL just a little bit and bypassing the NBA. But, I mean, we're getting down that home stretch in the NFL, Charlton, getting ready for the playoffs. Teams are jockeying for those last couple of positions.
Yeah.
The NBA is going strong. Teams are getting up to speed right now. Boogie Cousins is even playing in the G League.
Wow, isn't that amazing to go from NBA All-Star, hurt yourself, tore an Achilles. Now he's back. He's basically back ready to play right about Christmas, Big C. It's amazing. Those injuries would have put people on the sideline for the career back in the day. So much happening in the world of sports. Kind of a lull in the world of college football, other than who's going to decide, who's going to get ready for whatever game. Brian Kelly's been at Notre Dame longer than a lot of people thought. So congratulations to him. Also out on the West Coast, you actually have a lot of teams from California that are all playoff ready. You look at the Lakers, the Clippers, even the Sacramento Kings are right there knocking on the playoffs door. Big C, I want to say today's segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. There's something about this holiday season. Everybody's out shopping. I mean, I can't say everybody, but a lot of people are out shopping. I was just saying that I'm going to dress up as Black Santa this year, Big C. And then I realized, Big C, I'm Black Santa every year, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, as they say, ho, ho, ho. Santa Claus, I mean, you be careful if you're going to be Black Santa and trying to go in somebody's house.
Exactly.
You know how the police are these days when they see a black man in the neighborhood at night. So,
man.
And especially if you got some reindeers, they're going to think that you broke into the zoo and took those.
And imagine, yep. Go ahead.
When you just think about being Santa, all the years, and then once your kids grow up and you don't have the joy that you had when they were little, Charlton, when you could basically make them believe that everything was genuine.
Yep.
They'd wake up, they'd go to bed, and nothing's under the tree at night. They worry that Santa's going to come. They make his teas and put out his milk and everything, Charlton.
Yep.
Make up reindeer food and all that stuff, because the reindeers had to eat also.
Oh, yeah.
And, as a dad, you found yourself eating this, whether the cookies were good or bad. You had to get rid of the milk and put some cold milk in the glass because it had warmed up by then. But you go out in the yard with your little broom and dustpan to get up the reindeer food. And, the pieces of carrots and stuff, Charlton, that make it look like they had been there eating. But the joy you got from your children, Charlton, when they were small, it was the most genuine feeling that you could ever have in life. That joy of them lighting up like a Christmas tree on Christmas morning, running out with their pajamas on. Santa's been here. They come wake you up.
Yeah,
they wouldn't open the present. They go, Santa's here, Santa's here. Hurry up.
Yeah, that's true, Big C. I think if you are playing Black Santa, because everybody wants to know, why is Santa always white on TV? We live in a world of diversity, and it's a real question for kids. There was a thing called, what really is racism in sports and racism in life? And people think, well, sometimes you look too much for so many things. But really, when you're a kid of color and you grow up, you're taught that God's white, that Santa's white, the angels are white, Jesus is white. And people say, what does racism begin in sports? And it's a real question because kids don't know racism. They don't know color. But we have all of these things that are kind of already set up for you to succeed. I kind of have a white superiority complex around the holidays. When you go to church, really, according to the Bible, Jesus is a man of color. He had skin the color of brass, which is not pale. At the same time, if you're a young white kid, I'm talking to mainstream, you grow up in a society where you're told that everything looks just like you, which is not true at all. It's a lie, but people don't correct it. even Santa Claus. And so I look at kids that want to sit on Santa's lap. There are times, Big C, I went out to be a black Santa, and none of the kids wanted to sit on my lap. Can you believe that? I was offended. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, they probably thought you needed a shower. I'm not sure whether you felt right or not during that time, Charlie. But when you talk about how everything was set up in society here in America, not just during the holidays, Charlton, everyday America was painted white. Yeah. When you think about all the professional sports, Charlton, in the early 1900s, they were only white men that were allowed to play. So when you saw a basketball player when the NBA formed, Charlton, they were all white.
Yep.
You saw the NFL when it was formed. They were all white. Major League Baseball, Charlton, Major League Hockey, NHL, all of these sports were white.
Yep.
It was told that blacks were inferior and didn't have the ability to play, but yet it was known by the teams and owners and the players that the blacks were superior athletes.
Yeah.
And there's still people today, Charlton, that think about when sports was all white and how they felt about it then, that they felt that they were entitled, that it was their property, Charlton, and that the game changed when they allowed minorities to get involved.
Yeah.
It did, Charlton. It made a better game in every sport. Because when we look at professional athletics today, whether we're watching college sports, we're watching professional sports, Charlton, the resignation of the black athlete in the field of play is the greatest thing that we see as far as entertainment. Everyone sits there and reveres how much they play and how well they play, Charlton. You think about the SEC down here, that conference, how long they held out not having black athletes in those programs, Charlton, how they fought it. And all over the country. There was a situation in Wyoming. You think about Texas Southern, which was the first all-black college basketball team to win an NCAA title, which is now called UTEP. But, the fight back against that, where teams would not play teams that had an African-American player on them, as recently as the 60s in the United States. If there was an African-American player on the team, Charlton, some white teams from the South would not even play. They just would not be on the court with him because they felt mentally that they were inferior, but they knew he was a better athlete.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to be embarrassed by that, so they used the inferiority complex.
Yeah, that's true. And the reason I bring that up, Big C, because oftentimes kids don't know the difference. And I was just talking to people about what does race really start and how do we get better in life, and just talking to different business partners about what are your goals for 2019. And there's primarily 5 that I've just put in prayer and been thinking about. It's for everybody, for all colors. It's about being successful in all your efforts. Everybody wants to do that. Number 2, learning the ropes. What do you want to do in life? Whatever you're doing new, you want to learn the ropes, how it works. Maybe you want to move to a different city or a different company or a different location in 2019. Number 4, maybe you want to be the best that you can be. You want to be the best you. We all want to learn more, whether you learn more about math, science, art, literature, different cultures. It's all important, Big C. And finally, you want wonderful relationships and partnerships in everything that you do. Well, as a person of color for the holidays, and I think about it because most people don't even think about it, Big C. Whenever I go out and I want to see something that looks like me, if you don't have an athlete or a sports league, you really don't see too much of it, Big C. And I think even right now we have referees that are in all the leagues that are men and women, of course. There was a time ladies were discriminated against, and now they let women in too. There was a time you could not be African American and be a referee. Now you can. But I just challenge everybody. When we wonder about how does racism start, where does it begin, it's not subtle all the time, but how many times in these shopping malls that are Caucasian will they even hire a black Santa? Now you might think, well, what does it have to do with anything? It has something to do with everything. This whole perception about having to be white to be a leader, whether it's the President of the United States, whether it's the owner of a team, that there's no black leaders in the NFL, the #1 league in the United States of America. Only one person of color, that's Mr. Khan, with Jacksonville. Why is that? Big C is because people won't let you in. There were efforts to buy the Carolina Panthers, Oprah Winfrey, several other prominent people. They were told no. It's an oligarchy of power. So what does it have to do with Santa Claus, Big C? People say, well, yeah, but what's that got to do with Santa? If you're a young black child looking for a Santa Claus that looks like you don't see him unless you look to your parents. Mainstream rarely takes the time to make maybe Christmas more diverse. And it's a reason. It's an intentional thing. It's an intentional thing so that by the time we grow up, and the NFL says, you know what? Ever since they were born, everything in power looked like it was white, from God to Jesus to Santa Claus. Even the NFL owners, Big C, do you see a correlation? It's a lifestyle, Big C. You got to change your thoughts.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you can change what the NFL owners do, Charlton, because they vote on who they let in. And it's like many discriminatory country clubs around the country. You look at the Masters down in Augusta, Georgia, Charlton.
Yeah.
But no black membership down there, Charlton.
No.
It's all white.
Yeah.
That's what the NFL ownership has been, Charlton, forever. You know, when they vote on who they're going to allow in, they don't want it to be minority. You know, I remember years ago when Tiger won his first Masters and Fuzzy Zeller made the statement, well, I guess we'll be having fried chicken and collard greens at dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess he forgot he was in Georgia because that's what white people eat.
Yeah,
Fried chicken and collard greens.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was doing that as a racial smackdown, Charlton, more than anything else. And thinking that, you know, he could offend Tiger, but he made himself look like a buffoon.
Yeah.
You know, as a professional athlete. And so when you have that type of rhetoric, Charlton, you can have people that don't look like you work for you, but you don't want people who don't look like you sitting at the table with you.
Yeah.
That's been American history, Charlton. That's nothing recent, whether it's in sports, whether it's in politics, Charlton. It's always been that fight back.
Yeah, yeah.
That is the last thing that white America holds on to is power.
Yeah.
And they don't want to share it. And to let it be, you know, have minorities come into your pool, Charlton, all of a sudden you're releasing power in their minds.
Yeah.
So as long as they can hold on to it by any means possible, Charlton, whether it's collusion or discrimination,
yeah,
they're going to do that.
Well, Big C, I got a conclusion to what I was saying. I think it's so important when I was thinking, because I run around with AAU kids and they different colors, but oftentimes when they go see anything of structure of power, most of the kids are black. Most of the coaches, you know, it's kind of diverse. But when they go look at authority figures, most of them are Caucasian, where there's Jesus, where there's Santa Claus. When they go break bread at the dinner table, they have a white Santa on the Christmas lawn. The blow-up dolls are white Santas. The reindeers are white. Everybody's white. I've never seen a white reindeer, but that, you know, the point is, I'm asking for people, what do you want differently? We just told you. You want to be a better you? You want to learn the ropes? You want to have better relationships? All those things. I challenge my white brethren that say, well, maybe we talk too much about race in this society. I challenge many of our white brethren to go out and be more authentic about Christmas this year. Ask your pastor why Santa is painted, you know, Caucasian. That's one thing. But how about Christ? Let's ask our pastors, why do we have pictures of Christ being Caucasian? And just ask them, go to the Bible and show you where it is. You think, well, what's that got to do with sports? It has everything to do with sports. The reality is, if we're not being real about what's going on in life, we call tacit consent to discrimination and racism. Everyone knows Revelation chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. The book of Revelation chapter 10 and 9, 7.5 and 26. That Christ had skin the color of brass like wool. I would ask for Christmas, all my white brethren, to ask your pastors really, if that's what the Bible says Christ looks like, skin the color of brass, hair like lamb's wool, why is he not portrayed that way in the church? And people say, whoa, man, this is a sports show. No, it's about the truth. The truth is, there's a lot of people of color and all over this world. And they want to know, where can they go to find someone who looks like them? It starts with the truth, Big C. For the holidays, as we break bread, we go to church, we break bread, we watch our sports figures, let's all do a science test and ask God, or ask these pastors, can we really show what Christ looked like? I think it would have to do a lot to ending racism and discrimination. I started saying, why is Santa white with everybody? The same thing can be said in the church. Why is Jesus always painted white? He's not white anywhere in the Bible. And I hope that for this holiday season, 2019, that people can say, as we get together and sing our Christmas carols and all the things that we love about people, we want to learn that laughter is good for the soul, food is good for the soul, but the truth will set you free. Big C, that make any sense? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it's about one finding his inner self and belief. I mean, this country was built on a facade. It was built on theft.
Yeah.
It's always been built on theft. You people have stolen culture.
Yeah.
They've stolen land. They have stolen people.
Yeah.
So when you steal identities also, and that's from the beginning of time, Charlton, that identities have been stolen.
Yeah.
And so when those who are in power can script things the way they want them to be, Charlton, they're going to tell it in their own light. Not what they know is the truth, but what they want you to believe.
Yeah.
And power has always changed people's thoughts, Charlton, throughout the world. Regardless of the region or your place on the continent,
Yeah.
power has focused what people has thought, Charlton, over
Yeah.
time. And it still does.
Yeah.
You know, it's as simple as when white society wanted to tell society that black players in the NFL were against the military.
Exactly. It was a lie.
You know, it was a lie. But if you told that lie to enough people and made them believe that, Charlton, then that was going to be the truth.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
black players weren't saying, that, but the broadcasters were saying that, Charlton.
Yeah.
Is that the players were protesting against the military and the flag.
Amen to that.
They never said that. When they asked the black players, they limited what they said. They said, no, this is for social injustice.
Yeah.
But they never carried that message. They just kept saying military and the flag.
Yeah.
So those people can make you believe what you want to believe. It's like what your veteran friend told you in broadcasting.
Yeah.
We're here to make you believe what you saw is what you didn't see.
Exactly. Big C.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with that, Charlton. We're here to make you believe that what they said is not true.
Yeah.
But we can build a story that we want you to know that is true.
Yeah.
But the minute they stop telling that story, Charlton, what happened to the NFL ratings?
They went up.
They're the greatest ever, Charlton.
Yep.
Well, the guys that were telling the lie, when they could no longer tell the lie any longer, Charlton, people said, okay, I'm not hearing the lie, so let me go back to what I know that's factual.
Yeah. Yeah.
The game.
Yep.
Instead of listening to the lie, but somebody told them that a house is on fire, don't go down the street, take an alternative direction.
Yeah.
Even though there was no fire down there, Charlton, they distracted them.
Yep.
And so they went a separate direction. And that's what media did, Charlton, to black players in the NFL. They told lies on them, distracted the public, and made them look in another direction.
Well, I tell you what, too, Big C, is a big thing that people need to know, especially people of color. And if we don't tell it, you're not going to hear it. When people are out shopping, whether you're shopping for your favorite sports paraphernalia, your favorite hat, your favorite pair of Big C shoes, Big C hats, Big C uniforms, whatever it is, there are times when people of color will be falling in these malls. Okay? But I got to tie this in together because it's so real. When we look at what color is Santa, because even on our network, they put a little Santa Claus hat over my head, Big C. At the same time, when I go throughout the stores, I don't see many black Santas in predominantly suburban neighborhoods. And I ask those same people, if we want to find out where did racism start, it starts in the church. It starts in the church when we don't ask our pastors, where are the images of Santa? Okay? Now they say Santa, what's that got to do with church? Okay, well, where are the images of Christ? And I mean this with all my heart. Revelation chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. The book of Daniel chapter 7, verse 9 and 10 and 6. Christ had hair, the skin of color of brass, and hair like lamb's wool. You don't see that in the churches, in the pictures when they show Christ. What does it have to do with racism? It has everything to do with it, Big C. It has everything to do with why there are no black owners of NFL teams, why there are no black Santas predominantly in these mainstream shopping malls. But everybody loves black athlete because he's performing for you, because he's jumping and scoring baskets and hitting home runs and scoring touchdowns. But if the truth be told, we say we want to correct things when people tell a lie. Well, let's start with our pastors for this year's Christmas. Have the real image of what Christ is. If you're afraid to show it, at least show the Revelations chapter 1, verses 14 and 15, the book of Daniel 7 and 9 and 10 and 6. Just like we're accurate about a score, fantasy football, Big C, they want to know what fantasy football player had better numbers. Why? Because people bet on that. So if we take the same church and sports analogy, don't we want to know if we're accurate when we depict Christ? I think if people knew that, it would start in racism. There'd be no white ring conspiracy. There'd be no birther movement garbage, because all life came from the African continent. But the further we are from the truth of that, the more people continue to perpetuate lies, Big C, and that makes every black person shopping in the mall suspect of being racially profiled. Why? Because we never really told the truth about where people all came from. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, that's what I mean by when people have stolen from people. Stolen identity, stolen thoughts, stolen the truth, stolen culture, because you want to make one less than the other, so you tell a story about them, Charlton, and make people fearful of them. When you talk about being profiled in malls, being watched, I've had that happen to me years ago, Charlton, where I would be in a mall, and I know I had more money than the people that were stealing.
Yep.
That I was watching steal.
Yeah.
But I got a security guard watching me.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Because I'm walking around in a sweatsuit.
Yeah.
But it's like I was a professional athlete, but I was looked at as a potential thief.
Yeah.
As people were shoplifting, and I'm watching them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if he's not doing his job, why should I do his job for him?
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything about the people that were stealing. Maybe I was wrong at the time.
Right.
But he was wrong for profiling me.
Yeah.
So I felt that the store wanted those people to steal because they didn't train the guy properly, Charlton, to be fair.
Yeah.
To be fair and unjudgmental.
Yeah.
He was judgmental because I was African American.
Yeah.
He wasn't judgmental of the white thieves, though, Charlton.
Yeah. And I think that's so important. I brought this story up, Big C, because it's a time of year where people are supposed to dance, eat good food, be happy and jolly. But when I was out shopping, I found myself being racially profiled. I'm talking 2018. Of course, I'm not supposed to say anything about it if I'm mainstream. Just pretend, oh, that's just something that happened. But when I want to go out and do something for my own family, and I know what it looks like because I know what they look for. I know when you're followed by somebody throughout the store, and you're just there trying to go through your shopping list, and you're being questioned about, so what can we do to help you? Oh, I'm just looking for some things. I got a list here, no problem. I'll say, okay, well, thank you. If you need something, let me know. But like every other minute, are you sure you know what you're looking for? Yeah, I got a list. Am I sure I know what I'm looking for? I got a shopping list. But that just stopped me from being profiled. It made me so uncomfortable, I left the store. But as I looked around, I was one of few people of color in that store. Again, where does this all start? This is Christmas, supposed to be happy, right? I'm asking our pastors. It's so real. When you go to church on Easter, on Christmas Sunday, and you have a picture of a white Jesus, put the caption under that Jesus what he looks like in the Bible. I just told you, Big C Sports told you. Revelation chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. The book of Daniel chapter 7 and 9 and 10 and 6. Christ had skin the color of brass, hair like lamb's wool. He would be racially profiled in the shopping malls. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charles, he would not only be racially profiled, he'd most likely be arrested.
Perhaps.
People walking around in the garb that he wears.
Yep.
Because people are going to question his sanity at that point. Not his faith or what he does or who he is. They're just going to look at it and draw an opinion, Charlton.
Yeah.
And it's going to be inaccurate.
Yeah.
Because he's profiled.
Yeah.
As an unstable, dark-complected person being in a mall. He would most likely be said to be Muslim.
Yeah.
And, so he would have multi-security people paying attention to him, Charlton.
Yeah.
And where you got somebody of a pale complexion doing whatever they want in that facility.
Yeah.
And so this is the crux of racism. When you talk about where racism started, Charlton, it did start there in the Bible.
Yeah.
Because the depiction of Christ
is false.
Is not what the depiction that's sold to the general public and the world, Charlton.
Yeah.
If they did, Charlton, then people would see that people of color were equal.
Yeah.
Not less, equal, Charlton.
Yeah.
And so that worship and respect would be unilateral around the world.
I agree, Big C. And that's why God created the Big C Sports Show. You will never, ever, ever hear anyone talk like us. All we say is Google it. I just told you. Revelation chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. The book of Daniel chapter 7 and 9 and 10 and 6. Christ had hair like lamb's wool, skin the color of brass. He missed the idea, he missed the example of being racially profiled in the shopping malls for this holiday season. That's the lesson for Big C Sports in our message to the world. I would ask mainstream to join me, but they won't. They won't even mention it. But every African-American athlete knows when you're out shopping, especially when your kids go out shopping in groups, they're going to be racially profiled. You got to tell them that. You got to tell them, I know it looks all happy. We got images of white Santas all over the place. Everybody's happy. They've got candy canes and what we have decorated, bags and boxes of candy canes and Christmas wrapping. But the reality is When those store security guards are being told, let's look out for crime, they're not looking for white people. They're looking for people who look like me, or people who look like what Christ is described like in the Bible. And I'm saying this to wake up white America. You got to stop it. You got to stop it, because the store that I just left earlier today, they cost themselves some money in sales. Maybe they don't care about that, but you got to realize it. If we don't stop it as the clergy, it's not going to stop. We will stop it by telling the truth. We're more than just someone in an athletic uniform. It's important to me to say that, Big C. I just love being real. I don't want to go out for holidays and feel like I'm being targeted by undercover law enforcement because I might grab something that I didn't pay for. And I see white people stealing all the time. And it's just a fact. I hope we can put an end to it. Big C, the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions, now the Minnesota Vikings, the NFC Central, they tend to not have a chance against Seattle. This is a Seattle Seahawks team that played such bad football last night offensively, but defensively, to hold Minnesota down the way they did last night until late in the fourth quarter. Would you say their defense is Super Bowl ready, but their offense still has a lot to improve? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, it was an atrocious offensive game last night when you look at it in total. But when you mention those three teams, Charlton, they have all fallen under the same grip in Seattle with last-second controversial play, Charlton, that has determined the outcome of that game. You think about the reception a couple years ago when Green Bay was in town, Charlton, and Seattle got the last-minute touchdown in the corner of the end zone. Same thing occurred with Detroit, where the ball was batted out of the end zone, which should not have been allowed, and it created a safety in that situation, Charlton, against the Detroit Lions. And then last night with Bob Wagner leaping over the offensive line, Charlton, using leverage with his own teammates to block a field goal. But, you know, you think about what Seattle has done, Charlton. When they started out the season 0-2, everybody had written them off.
That's right.
You know, it was over. You know, how could Pete Carroll get rid of the Legion of Boom? You know, those guys that had been together for so long. Well, they had gotten old. That attrition rate had occurred, just like everywhere else in the NFL. You may not go wholesale far as getting rid of players, Charlton, but Pete Carroll knows how to build. You know, Pete Carroll was like Bill Belichick. When he started his NFL career, Charlton, he didn't have a lot of success. He was head coach of the New York Jets. Went back to college, Charlton, got his feet back under, learned what to do, came back to the NFL, went to Seattle, turned that franchise around. With the back-to-back Super Bowls, Charlton, he's had multiple playoff appearances. But, you know, most of all is that he knows players. He knows how to develop players, Charlton. And, you know, everyone was critical because he said he was building the team around Russell Wilson. You know, the media pundits out there, how can you build a team around a black quarterback?
Exactly.
Instead of just a black defense?
Right.
Well, the guy got us to 2 Super Bowls. And he's one of the most intelligent players in the entire league, which he has constantly proven more and more, Charlton, every time he's played. And you look at what he did, even with the minimal output that he's put on his shoulders, Charlton, last night throwing the ball. The running game that he's developed. Not only that, Russell Wilson had the longest run this season for Seattle last night in game when he ran for 40 yards. And you know, so Pete Carroll has learned, I got to take some of the pressure off of Russell Wilson and develop a running game, which is, Seattle has become very successful with it. But if you look on the flip side and you look at your cousin, Charles.
He's not my cousin.
In Minnesota. I mean, the things that, you know, I don't know if the media has questions. And I know last night during the game, it was the first time that I ever heard, and Booger McFarland said it, so Booger might be on the hot seat with the network talking about, was Kirk Cousins the right signing?
Right.
You know, would they not been better off with where they were last year, Charlton, with Case Keenum? Because you spent $84 million, and this is all that you're getting. $84 million guaranteed, and this is all that you're getting. And there was a point in the game, Charlton, last night, after Kirk Cousins had a turnover when he fumbled the ball late in the game, is that Stephon Diggs stood there in the huddle, and he cursed him out. He was cursing him out up and down. Kirk Cousins dropped his head.
He sure did.
He dropped his head. I mean, they didn't make comments about it during the broadcast, but his wide receiver, number 14, Stephon Diggs, was cussing him out. And as an athlete, I know that's what he was doing. And I was reading lips. I was paying attention to him.
Yeah, yeah.
But he let him know, this is all you can do for $84 million. His teammates were calling him out last night, Jonathan.
Yeah.
They called him out on the field. They called him out in the locker room. And it was so bad is that the Minnesota Vikings fired their offensive coordinator today, Tom DeFilippo.
Wow.
Now, he was a quarterback coach in Philadelphia last year. Won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles.
Yeah.
A not superstar quarterback in the NFL. But the thing that everybody has to look at with your cousin in Minnesota
Hey, not my cousin.
is that he hasn't beat teams in the NFL with winning records.
No.
Go back and look at his career. $84 million guaranteed, and he has not beaten teams with winning records. And last night, the broadcaster, Jason Witten,
Yeah.
said, I played against him.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of years.
Yeah.
He had great stats,
Yep.
but he was always playing from behind. That's how he got great stats.
Yep.
He ran up his stats against teams that were not winning, Charles.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that the broadcasters won't tell you about with Kirk Cousins, is that he was an overhyped white quarterback by them
Yeah.
who is proven to be what he was. Nothing. It's just he and the boy Matthew Stafford in Detroit,
Yeah.
they should be buying houses next to each other.
Yeah.
They're in the same division now,
Yeah.
but they should buy houses next to each other.
Yep.
Those are two of the greatest statistical quarterbacks in the NFL that's playing today that can't win. But they're called franchise quarterback, Thompson.
Yeah.
You must have. You have to pay them. You have to sign them. You have to give them this contract. You think about it. Your cousin in Minnesota, when he was in Washington, back-to-back years, operated under a franchise tag.
Yep.
Made some $58 million
Why?
in 2 years
Why?
in Washington.
Yeah.
Didn't have a winning record,
Nope.
but he made $58 million.
Yep.
They got tired of paying him, and so Minnesota gave him the money.
Yeah.
They gave him $84 million guaranteed, Charlton.
Wow.
So when you think about what this guy is making over a 5-year span, Charlton, and probably will never have a playoff win.
No.
He'll make $140+ million over 5 years
Yeah.
and does not have a winning record. But that's what the NFL wants, Charlton.
Yep.
If you're white and you look a certain way,
Yeah.
we'll pay you whatever we have to pay you.
Yep.
You don't have to win. We'll find excuses. We'll blame somebody else.
Yeah.
So they fired the offensive coordinator today
Wow.
because he was the reason why you couldn't throw the ball down the field.
You know,
That your yards per completion were
Yeah.
not there. And you're
yeah.
going to see that same thing occur, Charlton, in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Once the season is over, when you look at Matt Ryan, the second highest paid quarterback in the league, they're going to get rid of Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah.
He's going to be the fault. Even though Dan Quinn's record is the same as the previous coach, Mike Smith.
Yeah.
Think about that. He has the same record that Mike Smith had when they let Mike Smith go after 4 years.
Yeah.
So when you talk about parallels in the NFL, as long as you're white, you're right.
And I think the thing people say, well, what's it got to do with Santa Claus? What's it got to do with the churches that have painted Jesus white? It's not true. It's scientifically not true. It's religiously blasphemy. If you don't change it, then people think it's true. What is the image of the white quarterback in the NFL? They call him the paragon of virtue. They say every team needs to buy a white NFL quarterback because of his skin color, not because of his game. And all we say is judge people based on how they play. Bridgewater was in Minnesota the last time. They had a really good quarterback that they drafted to get into the playoffs. And we know what happened last year when they had the quarterback in town. They got rid of him. They traded so they could get this guy. And I just can't find where he's won any playoff games. I'm not knocking Kirk Cousins. And Big C, I'm not trying to be mean to your family members either. Because he may be Big C's cousin. I'll take his money, though. But in all honesty, where and anywhere does failure buy you $84 million if you're not a white man? And that's fact. And I'm asking for NFL owners who will not allow black Americans to even buy a team. They know it's true. And you say, well, what's that got to do with anything else? Well, the clergy also, and I'm asking for all the churches in the United States of America, in fact, all over the world, if you have these images of a white Jesus in your church, will you please just put under it in the Bible where you can find it? Revelation chapter 1, verses 14 and 15, the book of Daniel, the 7 verse 9 and 10 and 6, Christ has skin the color of brass and hair like lamb's wool. Now, if that's a fact, let's correct all these churches that have told this lie. The same way the NFL lies to you, and they say if you're white, you're worth $187 million, even though you're not going to the playoffs, Aaron Rodgers. You have one Super Bowl win in over a decade, but they keep saying he's the greatest of all time, and he's not. I mean, I want everyone to succeed, but let them succeed based on their merit, not on their skin color. Big C, that make any sense?
Well, Charlton, this story that has been told for so long, when you look at African-American quarterbacks in the NFL, there's two of them this year that have a record that's under 500. Carolina's one game under 500. Tampa Bay's been a mess, and that head coach, Dirk Cutter, will be gone when the season is over.
Yeah.
But when you look at the African-American quarterbacks that are having success this year in the league, Charlton, that are going to potentially be in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, the kid in Houston, Watson.
Yeah.
You know, these players, Charlton, are exceeding in the league. Dak Prescott in Dallas.
Yeah.
They're exceeding. And people don't give them the praise. They're not talked about other than Mahomes of being one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
But when you look at where Russell Wilson has been his entire career, Charlton, in the NFL, he was the most efficient quarterback in the league last year.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't make the playoffs, he was the most efficient quarterback in all of the NFL. Was he put in the MVP talk, Charlton? No. Was he put in the All-Pro talk? No. They talked around him like he didn't exist.
Right.
But they talked about Aaron Rodgers, who was out half the season.
Yeah.
And gave him $187 million.
Yeah.
And, you know, look how he's rewarded the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
And, you know, I looked at him in his press conference, Charlton, a couple of weeks ago. Well, after this last press conference with Philbin.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you know, it's just another voice in the helmet.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't listen to anybody. That's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I do as I want to do.
Yeah.
I will get you fired. But you think about if it had been one of the black quarterbacks in the NFL saying, well, it's just another voice in the helmet calling the plays.
Yeah.
You know, he took a page from Baker Mayfield when Hugh Jackson got fired in Cleveland.
Yep.
It's like, I am the guy. I can do what I want to do.
What I want to do, yeah.
Yes, Cleveland has an outstanding record this year compared to what they had the year before.
Yeah.
But you got to also look, Charlton, who put that team together?
Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson put that team together. Who put that offense in place? Hugh Jackson did.
Yeah.
So they're winning now, Charlton, but it's about getting chemistry.
Yeah.
It took a while to develop that. They weren't going to come out of training camp and win the Super Bowl. It was going to take a while to get those players in place to play, Charlton. But those players that are on Cleveland Browns roster, Hugh Jackson put them in place. He was the one who made the final cut down, said, these are the guys that I want on the roster. It took a little while to gel.
Yeah.
But he got fired before he could see the culmination of his work.
Yep.
And everybody said he was holding the team back because he had only won so many games in the first couple of years there.
Yeah.
But you find excuses, Chelsea. That's what you do. If that's the case, what coaches should be gone out of the NFL right now?
Yeah.
When you think about the amount of money that quarterbacks are making, what coaches should be gone? John Gruden should have got fired first week of the season if that's the case.
Yeah.
You're looking at that. Look at San Francisco. Mike Shanahan.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan should have been gone. Should have been gone, Charlton.
Yeah.
But they don't look at it that way. Look up in Buffalo. You know, they're not saying these coaches got to go.
They're not. They're not at all.
They're talking about firing Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
Who's in first place in this division again?
First place.
They're talking about firing John Harbaugh, who's in second place in the division.
Yeah.
These guys that have a successful track record.
Yeah.
Because both of them, Charlton, will play minority quarterbacks.
Isn't that something?
You think about that.
Yeah.
They play a minority quarterback. Well, we got to fire you.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackson started the season with a minority quarterback.
Yep.
Got fired, Charlton.
Yeah. And see, that's why we talk about, that's why Big C Sports should be the recipient of the Edward R. Morrill Award for excellence in broadcast journalism. It's based on telling the truth, not being black or white. But the voters are all Caucasian. It's mainstream. If you want, that's why we say Google everything we say. That Big C Sports will be true more than anybody else in the sports business, and you know it's true. Just Google it. Whether it's about Jesus Christ, talking about religion, Google. What color was Christ? Revelation chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. Daniel chapter 7, verse 9 and 10 and 6. That's your assignment for the holiday season. Go ask your pastor to read it. He does not look like the guy they hanged up on the wall. He does not look like the plaque on the wall. I know laughter's food for the soul, and we're supposed to lean with it and rock with it. Everybody's having a good time for the holiday season. But with Big C Sports, it's all about, we don't care if you like us. We just care that you know that you Google the truth. And if we're not telling the truth, don't listen to us ever again. But can you also say that about mainstream programs? When they lie time and again, you run right back to them and you listen to them. And because people, they don't correct racism, whether it's POTUS or the shopping malls that have all white Santas or the churches that have an all white Jesus, you can't find the footnote for that. You can't. So when someone comes along and says correct it, you don't say, oh, well, they're racist or they're being anti-American. No, just Google the truth. And that's why Big C Sports should be winner of the Everett R. Morrill Award for Excellence in Broadcast Journalism. One more thing about Kirk Cousins. One of the Seattle media asked him last night, so what do you think about this defense? Do you have any way of looking at how you can stop them? And Kirk, $84 million, Cousins said, you know, the great white hype says, man, if I knew the answer, then we would have won the game. Why do you think they gave you $84 million, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Johnson, that was the answer, $84 million answer.
Yeah.
That's what he gave last night.
Yeah.
He said, I can't figure out any defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
I'm this intelligent guy that they paid this guaranteed money. Minnesota Vikings were one game away from the Super Bowl last
year. Yeah.
Basically the same personnel other than a quarterback is on that roster. And everybody said Case Keenum wasn't the guy. Even though he took him to the NFC Championship game, Charlton, his name wasn't big enough.
Nope.
And he played against the guys whose name wasn't big enough either, Nick Foles, who went on to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So he wasn't a fluke. But you got a guy, Charlton, to get you to the NFC Championship game. Just like when the Redskins had Doug Williams that got him to the Super Bowl and won it.
Lost his job.
It wasn't good enough for him.
Yeah.
They had to cut him, Charlton.
Yeah.
They couldn't re-sign him.
Yep.
Same thing with Minnesota. Let's not re-sign Case Keenum because the team is right there with him. The cohesiveness between the receivers, Charlton.
Yeah.
Having a record year, leading the NFL in efficiency. We're not happy with that. Let's go get a guy who's never won.
Yeah.
And bring him in here and make us a loser. That's what Minnesota said last year.
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense. And even with a guy like Bridgewater, you know, sitting on the bench, and he playoff experience, Big C. They lost to Seattle in Nicole. Wasn't his fault that they lost. He's on the bench, and guys like Mark Sanchez are playing. It just doesn't make any sense, Big C. I want to just say, it's always great when you just point out the facts to people. It doesn't matter. If it's factual, it's factual. Sports is a billion-dollar industry. Boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. For every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer league, when you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you. One more thing about the Great White Hype. We know Reggie McKenzie, great GM for the Oakland Raiders, helped them build their only playoff team in the last decade, Big C. For you good up boys, that means over the last 10 years. He got shown the door. John Gruden, part of the Great White Hype again, he says he had no idea why he was fired. He didn't even know. It came to his surprise. If you're getting $100 million and you wanted McKenzie around, who led the Raiders to the only playoff team in the last decade, would you go to Mark Davis and say, wait, Mark, you gave me $100 million to build this team. I need McKenzie because he's the blueprint that got us to our last playoffs. When he was in broadcast, McKenzie was doing his thing, getting guys like Khalil Mack, getting guys like Derek Carr, getting guys like Cooper, getting guys like Crabtree, getting guys like King. This is the guy, Big C. And he even brought in beast mode. But he's shown the door, and Gruden lies to everybody and says, I didn't even know he was out. Why do they let them lie so easily, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the lie started back with Khalil Mack when I reached out to him. And Khalil told everybody he never called me.
No.
So I don't know whether he was, where he was reaching to.
No.
But, when you look at this situation with Reggie McKenzie, Charlton, this is about power. Is that John Gruden doesn't want to have anyone that says that he's doing wrong.
Exactly.
And you got to realize that the GM is going to challenge you.
Yeah.
And, challenging the owner who's saying ultimately you have to make these trades. But once again, it comes back to you got a black guy saying, I don't like what you're doing.
Yep.
And so since you don't like what we're doing, we just let you go ahead on out of here.
Yeah.
That's what we do. You know, here's John Gruden that everyone thinks is this offensive savant. And he didn't do anything before when he was in the NFL offensively.
No.
Because you have a show on television that say you're a quarterback guru, that you're always talking about drafting a quarterback in the first round, I feel that that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Even though the Raiders had committed all this money to Carr,
Yeah, he'll be out.
is that he doesn't want Carr.
Carr's out next
He
year.
wants to draft a quarterback, Charlton, and get a guy that he says has his mindset and mentality.
Yep.
That's what he wants to do. So people might say that Carr is going to be there, but Carr is not going to be there. If you've gotten rid of everything that resembled Carr
Yep.
and McKenzie, Charlton,
Yeah.
then Carr has to go.
Yep.
That's the only thing that you can do.
Too much money.
But you know, to just move off of your GM, Charlton, that's unheard of during the season.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
just doesn't happen. I mean, it's bad enough firing coaches and assistant coaches.
Yeah.
But to move a GM out of an organization, Charlton, during the season, that lets you know where that organization is and who's running that. John
Yep.
Gruden, you didn't give this guy $100 million to have him upset because you want him to be happy.
Yeah.
Because ultimately you want to see your investment pay off. But also, Charlton, when that investment doesn't pay off, you can't blame anybody else.
That's true. That's true, Big C. It all goes back to just tell the truth. The truth will set you free, especially for this holiday season. We just want people to Google the truth. Again, be successful in all your efforts, learning the ropes. Maybe you want to move to a different team or different city. You know, learn something different in 2019. Be the best that you can be. Have wonderful relationships and partnerships. Every partnership and relationship, in order to be successful, you must be honest. You don't have to like each other, but you go to a doctor that's going to tell you, we've done your scan, and this is what we need to do your procedure. Okay, you want them to be honest, not to tell you, hey, everything's fine, don't worry about it, go home, have a safe holiday. You want them to tell you the truth so they can fix it, Big C. In relationships with people, they're the same. I mean, it's always the same. Tell the truth, Big C. Today's the most infamous day in boxing history. And it was December 11th, 1981, and December 11th, 1990. Just like every boxer, they have a cut man. You want your cut man to be honest with you, Big C. What about those infamous days make sense, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you think about 1981, December 11th, 1981, that was a great Muhammad Ali's last professional fight, Charlton.
Yep.
He lost in a unanimous decision at Trevor Burke. You know, and this was an unknown guy, Charlton, but he captured the victory over Muhammad Ali. And Muhammad Ali should not have been allowed to fight at that time, Charlton, in his life. And everyone knew that the champ didn't have anything left, but they still gave him his boxing license.
Yeah.
But, you know, he went out unceremoniously, Charlton, against Trevor Burke, who went on to lose his title, Charlton, to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson became heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
But also, Charlton, on December 11th of 1991, the greatest upset in heavyweight history occurred.
Yeah.
Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson in Tokyo
Yeah.
in a 42-1 odds, Charlton, on a fight. When Mike Tyson just had a bunch of people standing in his corner that he hung out with, Charlton,
Yeah.
didn't have that same tenacity. And Buster Douglas shook up the world that night, Charlton,
Yeah.
by knocking out the infamous Mike Tyson.
Yeah, he sure did. Maybe Mike had something bad to eat, but even in that fight, there was a time when Buster Douglas was on the ground, and the count was wrong. I know both fighters saw the turf or the floor, but that fight was so staged. It was staged, and it's a shame when you see it. But we know that's all fair, love, and war when it comes to boxing. Big C, I want to get on to something about the NFL. Something that I love is when we do Big C's Top 10. I remember back in the day, there was a guy, Bob Hope. He used to always do the college All-Americans. He would do it from Southern California studios, usually right around the Rose Bowl. But what I really come to enjoy is when I hear Big C's NFL Top 10 teams. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has their own favorite teams. But Big C, let me get your thoughts on Big C's Top 10 NFL teams. Your thoughts, Big C?
Well, Charlton, I'm moving the Saints back to the top of the list, Charlton, after that key victory that they had in their division against Tampa Bay over the weekend.
Yeah.
The Kansas City Chiefs are number 2. They had a miraculous come from behind overtime win over the weekend, Charlton. I'm going to move up to number 3, the Bears, with that dominant defense, Charlton, that shut down that formidable Rams offense over the weekend at Soldier Field. At number 4, I'm going to bring the Rams in, Charlton. I think they will get back on track now that they've made that Central Division swing, Charlton, and they'll get a chance to come back to Los Angeles and have some home cooking.
Yeah.
At number 5, I got to look at the Los Angeles Chargers, Charlton. Going to be probably the third greatest game of the season, Charlton, because they're going to be matched up against the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday night.
Yeah.
And if they win, they will be tied with the Chiefs, Charlton, for the division lead in the AFC West. At number 6, I'm going to bring in the Patriots, Charlton. Not the Patriots, but the Texans, after that loss to the Colts over the weekend, Charlton, dropped them down just a bit. At number 7, I've got to bring in the Patriots. Even though they lost a tough battle, Charlton, to the Dolphins in Miami on Sunday, Charlton.
Yeah.
That was one of those plays, Charlton, that goes down in NFL history that you will play over and over, and you won't see that same thing ever happen again.
Yeah.
At number 8, the Steelers. Even though they're coming off of a tough loss in Oakland last week, Charlton,
they got robbed.
They're still a playoff team when the season is over. At number 9, I'm going to bring in the Cowboys, Charlton. They're leading the Eastern Division. They've dominated every team in that cup, Charlton. They've been solid with Dak Prescott, the quarterback, Charlton, getting all of the bad raves from all the media saying that he's not an NFL caliber quarterback, doesn't deserve a franchise quarterback contract, Charlton.
Wow.
But all he does is win, 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 baby.
Yeah, he just keeps
winning. At number 10, we saw him last night. Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks, Charlton, finding ways to win games. With minimal offense, great defense, Charlton. Their team, Charlton, makes the playoffs. No one wants to see them, just like the Bears, with that great defense that they're playing.
Yeah, that's a great Big C's top 10. I want to go back to what you put the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 8. You know, instant replay won't get it right. At least turn to Big C Sports to get it right. There was a play in the back of the end zone where the Steelers receiver, I think it was number 84, had both hands on the ball, had control. He had both feet in bounds about 2 inches from the outline or from the back of the end zone. It was a touchdown, and it was right in front of the back hole. They go to the networks in New York, and they overrule a touchdown because they told us that what we saw with our own eyes is not what we saw. And all that meant, we just opened up why is Santa Claus always white in mainstream shopping malls. Why do all the churches have Jesus depicted as white? All we say is find the scripture in the Bible where it says that his skin was white and his hair was blonde. It doesn't exist. When you see the Steelers score a touchdown, it let the Raiders get another win. Gruden's had 3 wins this year over 3 teams. Cleveland Browns, black coach. Pittsburgh Steelers, black coach. Arizona Cardinals, black coach. You don't think something nefarious is going on? Why does Big C Sports put it up? Big C, what should the league do to go back and say we blew it? We blew it and we cost the Steelers a game. Do you think they would want to get it right, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton just got his black GM fired also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, you know, the league is not going to do that. We saw that with the Cleveland Browns game, Charlton, that here it is, you make these atrocious calls, and you let them stand, Charlton. Why do you have replay?
Exactly.
And you know, it's very apparent when you look at it. Only coaches that John Gruden can beat this year in the NFL are African-American coaches, Charlton.
Yep.
Those are the only ones that he can beat, you know, because, well, he gets some help from the officials.
Of course he did.
And you think about the blown calls, Charlton. They had a Hispanic official, Charlton, a couple of weeks ago that was fired by the NFL.
Yep.
For blowing a call.
Yeah.
We've seen that same call blown on several games, Charlton. No white officials have been fired.
No.
So when you think about the nepotism of that league, Charlton, that we don't want certain people in that league.
Yep.
And you wonder, how do you fire a Hispanic official with all this rhetoric that's going on by the president?
Yeah.
And the white guys are making egregious mistakes every week.
Yeah.
And the Hispanic official makes one mistake, Charlton, he loses his job.
Yep. And nobody calls him out. But that's why God created Big C Sports. Big C, as we go across the border to Canada, Toronto Blue Jays today, they released shortstop Troy Tulowitzki with 2 years remaining on his contract. They owe him $38 million. They owe him $38 million. You must have a lot of money when you owe someone $38 million and you let it go anyway. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, let me make a phone call. Who's that kid that just won the Heisman?
Yeah, Murray out of Oklahoma.
Kyler Murray.
Yep.
Kyler Murray, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Forget about the NFL.
Yep.
And here's a guy that they're telling to go home.
Yeah.
We don't even want to deal with you.
Yeah.
We will give you $30 million over the next 2 years to go home.
Yeah.
So when you this is the reason why you don't hear baseball players discussing their reps, Charlton.
No.
Their league reps. They don't say anything about their union. They have the greatest union, not in sports, Charlton, in the world.
In the world. In the universe.
That your money is guaranteed.
Yep.
You get cut, and you're guaranteed $38 million, Charlton. The thing about that, he can go sign with another team
Yeah.
for the minimum. Toronto's still on the hook for what's left of that contract that that other team doesn't pay.
Yeah.
So if a team signs him for $1 million, Charlton, a year for 2 years,
Yeah.
Toronto's still on the hook for $36 million.
Yeah.
But that lets you know how crazy that the money is in baseball. You know, when you think about Kyler Murray having the option, Charlton,
Yep.
to play both leagues, and it would be nice to see him play in both leagues
Yeah.
and make the money from both leagues.
Yep.
But his money in baseball is guaranteed. The first day he steps on a Major League Baseball diamond, Charlton, he has his pension for life.
Wow.
It's there for life.
Wow.
That's what the baseball union allows the baseball players.
Yeah.
So as America gets so enamored with the NFL and the NBA, is that they are secondary when it comes to player security.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, as far as highlight reels, yes, everybody wants to watch them because they're fast-paced. They're easy to bet and make money on, Charlton.
Yeah.
But baseball players bet on their futures with their union
Yeah.
and their guaranteed money that the NBA and the NFL would love to have. So Kyler Murray, like I said, Scott Boras is your agent, who is Mr. Baseball when it comes to representing players,
Sure is.
has your best interest in mind.
Yeah.
Forget about the NFL unless you're a number one draft pick and go ahead and make that baseball money.
I agree 100%, Big C. Take the money, I think, for more African Americans when you realize, and I talked to some white Americans that say the NFL is so racist, but 70% of their product is black. And most of the black men that broadcast, they can't say anything because they'll lose their jobs too. And they're willing to just shut up and keep getting paid. I understand that. That's why God created Big C Sports, and that's why Big C Sports is in line for the Edward R. Murrow Award for ex-broadcast journalism, because we tell the truth, and you can Google it. Don't care who's telling you the news. Don't be partial about who's telling you sources, but be honest about the truth. The truth will set you free. Go to the baseball world. In the next several years, I think Goodell wants the NFL to become a $27 billion a year industry, but it still discriminates against black men. And without Big C Sports telling you the truth, you wouldn't know the truth. Big C, as we close out, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, they met for the last time last night in a regular season basketball game. The Lakers came out on top with a victory, giving LeBron James the win in head-to-head battle. These are two men that played several years on the same team, the Miami Heat. They've meandered in and out of different leagues together, different teams. And I want to get your thoughts now, because this tandem that we just saw come to a close, you don't often see that where they remain good friends. Oftentimes they're at odds, but these guys are more in common off the court than they do on the court. But give me your thoughts on what we just saw last night, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, last night was the 31st head-to-head meeting between LeBron James and Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
LeBron has the edge now, 16-15. But they're tied in championship trophies, Charlton. Each one of those players has 3 championship titles when you look at it. They have 2 together and 1 apart each. So these are players, Charlton, that are both destined for the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
But they're destined more for the Hall of Fame, Charlton, from character than just players.
Yeah.
When you look at how LeBron James and Dwayne Wade has exemplified being a professional basketball player, Charlton, for the last 15 years in the NBA.
Yeah.
They're role models. They've done it right, Charlton. They've been, you know, you haven't heard negative blogs in the media about them, Charlton.
No.
They've gone out, they've been leaders in their organization, Charlton. They've sacrificed their own games, Charlton, for the better of the team.
Yeah.
When you think about Wade, when Shaq came to Miami, and they won a title together, Charlton.
Yep.
So this was a player that was willing to accept having another superstar on the team.
Yeah.
10 years later, he did the same thing with LeBron. When he came to Miami, along with Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
He was able to step back, Charlton, and take a subordinate role in being a part of a championship organization.
Yeah.
That's character.
Yeah.
When you look at athletes. We have so much squabbling now from professional athletes. Well, I want to be the superstar.
Yeah.
I want to be the guy. We just had it out of Philadelphia with Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
Talking about he's not comfortable with Jimmy Butler on the team. But they've only lost 2 games since Butler's in there. I think they're 11-2 since Butler's been in the lineup in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And Embiid's not happy with that.
No, crazy.
He wants to be out there taking 3-point shots.
Yep.
But when you look at where LeBron has gone throughout his career, Charlton, he has forced other players to be better. You look at the Lakers' record. If the playoffs were to start, Charlton, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There was never even talk about that last year with the Lakers prior to LeBron showing up. It was like, well, we're going to deal with the process of developing.
Yeah.
LeBron comes in and says, look, I'm a full-grown man. I'm developed. I need people to want to play.
Yeah.
And when you saw that battle last night with he and Wade, there was intensity, Charlton.
Yeah.
But there was a friendship and respect
Yeah.
there also.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't get enough of today from professional athletes.
I agree, Big C. I love seeing men that get along and compete hard. And we look at just some of the records in the NBA. The top seeds in the East, the Raptors 21-7, the Bucks 18-8, the 76ers 19-9, the Pacers 17-10. You have the Celtics 16-10, the Pistons 13-12, the Hornets are 13-13, the Magic 12-15, the Heat 11-15, the Wizards 11-16, the Nets are 10-18, the Knicks 8-20, the Hawks 6-20, Cavaliers 6-21, the Bulls 6-22. Big C, I know you talk about what the league wants. You think Toronto is still going to hold out, at least be in the Eastern Conference Finals? I know you don't think the NBA wants them in the finals. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, the way that the Raptors are playing and if Kawhi Leonard can stay healthy, they're going to make a deep run into the NBA Eastern Conference Championship race.
Yeah.
You know, they're a tremendous organization, Charlton. They've been there for years. Casey built a great foundation there, Charlton, prior to being let go at the end of last season.
Yep.
But the Toronto Raptors have a lot of unselfish players, Charlton, that don't mind playing together.
Very good point, Big C. In the West, Big C, the Thunder are 17-8. What a team. The Warriors, number 2 spot, 19-9. It's always going to fluctuate depending on who wins that night. The Nuggets, 18-9. The Clippers, 17-9. The Lakers, the 5 spot, 17-10. The Grizzlies at 15-11. Trailblazers, 15-11. The Mavericks, 14-11. The Kings are 14-12. They're the number 5 spot. The Pelicans, 14-15. The Spurs, 13-14. Timberwolves are 13-14. The Jazz, 13-15. The Spurs, 13-14. And the Timberwolves 13-14, the Jazz again 13-15. I want to get your thoughts, Big C. When we look at what's happening in the world of the NBA, I like where we stand going into the holidays. I hope that people can enjoy the sports business. But I just want to close out by saying, when you're out for the holidays, realize people are still being racially profiled. We're supposed to be dancing and laughing and having a good time. I really hope our pastors will show, when they show the churches, and they have Jesus being depicted white, just go to the Bible and underline for your congregation where it says he looks that way. He doesn't. Revelation chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. The book of Daniel chapter 7 and 9 and 10 and 6. He has skin the color of brass, hair like lamb's wool. That means the racial profiling that I just received today out shopping. If I don't talk about it, nobody will. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young men, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Well, Charlton, as we take a look at the NBA, and you think about that outstanding start that the New Orleans Pelicans got off to, you have to wonder with how the slide is going with that organization, Charlton. Will Anthony Davis be with that organization come the new year?
Wow.
There's a lot of trade rumors out there, Charlton, that he might be moving eastward.
Wow.
And if he does, most likely Boston could end up being the landing spot, Charlton, because they have a wealth of draft picks. And Danny Ainge is known to be giving up players and draft picks to get that superstar. The last time that Boston was relevant and won a title, they made a dramatic move for Kevin Durant. Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett,
from Minnesota.
Yep.
And he came in and propelled them to an NBA title, Charlton.
Yeah.
Can he be the next move that Boston makes?
That would be great. And in the worlds of the great Kevin Durant, anything's possible! Every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. Follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports have been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any man or woman going through that, just call 911, because no man or woman should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And please listen every Monday to Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope you have a super fantastic day.